Douglas Bickford, 6/16/21 at 7 a.m. here in Klamath Falls, Oregon, my hometown. Never, never give up, and your attitude determines your direction, and I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. And that's me, Douglas Bickford, here in Klamath Falls, Oregon. I have a message for you. We have been duped, trained, brainwashed not to have self-esteem, self-love, okay? All the social media, radios, televisions, newspapers, all your churches, everywhere has not taught us how to have self-esteem. And not only have they not taught us, they've trained us to not have self-esteem. That's what Facebook's all about. That's what YouTube's all about. That's what TikTok's all about. Facebook, right? It's all about you, okay, and the way you look. And it's not the reality of life. Just like television isn't reality. That's called an illusion. Facebook is an illusion. It's real, but people post everything, all their information on Facebook, where they live. You might as well just put your social security number on Facebook, okay? And you're talking to total strangers. You have no idea who these people even are. Because anybody can post anything on Facebook. You can put up fake everything. Fake pictures, fake name, fake. And just make an email address. And you can say whatever you want to say on Facebook. You know what I mean? So that's what Facebook's all about. It was created, that's one of the ways they train us not to have self-esteem. Because egotistical, and that's what Facebook is, self-centered, that's what Facebook is just the opposite of self-esteem. Okay. Self-esteem is self-love, and it's how you feel about yourself. And I'm going to say 99% of the people are running around with no self-esteem, trying to make themselves happy without it. Okay. By going to church, by people jumping in relationships, so to make you happy, right? It's called external things, material possessions. Okay, none of it will ever make you happy. There's only one thing that's going to make you happy, and it'll quench that unhappiness you feel inside of you. It's called mirror therapy. All you got to do is look at yourself in the mirror every day. As soon as you see me say this to you, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. And also say, I love my inner child. I'm going to nurture and take care of my inner child. That's the two things you got to do to straighten out your messed up life. Okay? Because You cannot love or be loved without self-esteem, self-love. You can't give love and you can't receive love. That's the way it is. I don't know why it's like that, but that's the way we were made. And the media, the Western training model, that's what the book, The Portable Therapist, calls it. And this is what I'm getting all my she's a psychologist, she's a psychiatrist. Has a doctorate in psychology. Her name's Susan McMahon. Get the book. To get the book, it's in a link in the description of the video down below. Okay. You can get this book. It's very cheap. Read it for yourself. But you can attain self-esteem, self-love, so you can have healthy relationships. I'm talking about romantic, and just relationships in general with people. Okay. You can't have a healthy one unless you have self-esteem, self-love. I'm the absolute only one on the internet talking how easy it is to attain self-esteem. And if you say those two things in the mirror and keep saying it, and don't tell anybody you're doing it, because they'll call you crazy and then you'll quit doing it. Self-esteem, to get it, you have to practice it like lifting weights. If you quit lifting weights, you will lose and have to start over. But so if you say it every day in the mirror to you, those two things, you will attain self-esteem, and you will attain it on steroids. Okay. That's what happened to me. Okay. And this doesn't come from Douglas Bickford. This is coming from a psychiatrist who knows the brain. She went to school for 8 to 10 years to get it. And those two things will straighten out your messed up life if you say it and if you keep saying it. And don't tell anybody. Just do it. Okay? Try it. And I guarantee you, you will feel a difference. Especially you keep saying it, and then you'll start feeling it when you go around people. You'll notice a difference in you. Okay? You got to put down everything you've been taught and try it. I'm not crazy, nothing. It's just I'm a normal guy, and I'm telling you it works. Anyway, so I'm going through the book chapter by chapter, and the portable therapist. That's what my videos are all about. My life's mission is to teach self-esteem, and that's what I'm doing on YouTube. And that one simple concept will give you self-esteem if you just do it. Okay? And nobody will tell you that on YouTube. I'll never make money off my YouTube videos. I don't want to. I don't need the money. I was blessed and bought a house and paid cash for it in Klamath Falls, Oregon. I got my Harley. I got my Mazda Miata. That's a little sports car, kind of like a Porsche box car. Looks just like it, actually. I got my big diesel pickup truck. I got my Ford F-250 pickup, four-wheel drive pickup truck, so I can haul garbage and all that. I kept my tricked out 1987 Dodge van. I took that. That was the only two things I took from a toxic marriage to a lady with no self-esteem and a dysfunctional family with no self-esteem. Okay. And my God, who I call the Great Spirit, woke me up November 2nd, 2020. I will never forget the day. Okay. Use my cat to do it. My wife was going to kill my cat. She had already killed two of my cats. She's the type of person I found out that she can take a 308 and blow goats' heads off. Okay. 3 of them. That was the first encounter I had with her sickness. Okay. Which is psychopath, but she likes to kill animals. But I didn't realize that was the first 5 months into the marriage. And she took a 308. She blew little baby goats up. And then not only did she do that with her friend Kathy, she turned around I don't know, a few days later we were all drinking at my house. a 5-acre farm, and they were laughing about it. She was laughing about how it destroyed. Oh, it just like blew the goats' heads right off. They splattered them all over the place. She was laughing about it. Only an evil, sick, twisted person would laugh about something like that. None, and doing it. Okay. She killed my cat with a 22 and shot him in the back of the head because I couldn't afford to pay a vet bill, but I could have come up with the money. And I had to live. This is what low self-esteem will get you in these situations. You all know if you see me and you're with an abusive person, you know what I'm talking about. They'll drown your cats. They'll beat your dogs. They'll beat your kids. They'll torture you. Okay. That's what people low self-esteem do. But you have low self-esteem because you're in that relationship. You have to take responsibility for that. I was in that relationship. I was no self-esteem when I got in it. Okay. But anyway, that's what we get ourselves into with no self-esteem. It'll never happen to me again. Because I say every day, I love Douglas Bickford. I love my inner child. I will not live in guilt in the past, and I'll not live in the future in anxiety, because that's what both of those, guilt and anxiety, are toxic to your mental health. People they live in guilt, but you can be free of all that if you say those two simple things. Now here's chapter 80 of from the Portable Therapist. When do I know that it is time to leave the relationship? The word dysfunction, when used in relationship context, literally means that the relationship is not working, not functioning in a healthy manner. There are large degrees of difference among dysfunctional relationships. Sometimes a relationship that is stale or boring may feel dysfunctional. External stressors can also feel dysfunctional when they create unusual or unfamiliar patterns of behavior. Almost all relationships go through periods of being less functional than usual. These normal patterns in most relationships need to be contrasted with the severely dysfunctional relationships. The latter are the ones which involve abuse, addiction, physical or emotional destructiveness, or harm to the involved members. When the potential for abuse or serious harm is high, the victim needs to leave the relationship as quickly as possible. I'll read that one again. When the potential for abuse or serious harm is high, the victim needs to leave the relationship as quickly as possible. So if you're in a toxic relationship where they're going to harm you or your animals or your children, leave now, because they will harm you and your animals and your kids. We cannot take care of ourselves emotionally until we are assured of our physical safety. That's what I had to do. We cannot work on change and growth when our energies are being consumed with basic survival needs. We have the right, and we owe it to ourselves, to put ourselves in safe environments if we have the slightest possibility of doing so. We do not have to choose to stay in a victim role if there's any way out. My daughter's in this right now. My son's in it right now. And if you ever see this video, Jessica and Brad, which you never will, probably, get out and get self-esteem. You know what I mean? It's crazy. A lot of you are going through this. Emotional safety is as important as physical safety. You cannot function to the best of your abilities if you're being emotionally abused. That's what's happening to me. For 3.5 years, I put up with it. If you're involved with someone emotionally destructive to you, stop trying to change them, him or her, and leave. That's what I did. If you're living with an alcoholic, which where I came from, she was, my son is with one, and my daughter is with one, or an addict who expresses no interest in working on changing, You are better off leaving this person with their addiction rather than trying to deal with it. My wife, oh, it's just wine. But she couldn't put it down. I would plead with her repeatedly. Can you just quit drinking? I can. Why can't you? Oh, no, I need a glass of wine. It's just wine. You think I'm an alcoholic, don't you? Yeah, and the truth was she was. I had no self-esteem then. So I couldn't say what was on my mind because I don't want to ruin the relationship, you know. But I had no self-esteem, so I couldn't say that. Because if you have no self-esteem, you have no self-worth, so you can't stick up for what you believe in. You can't stick up for yourself, and they'll mentally and emotionally abuse you. These people, especially, I mean, they all do, uh, because you attract exactly what you are, and if you don't love yourself, then that's what you get. Somebody that won't love you, and they just abuse you. I've done it for years. But not no more. I am clean and sober of toxic relationships. I'm talking not just love relationships. I'm talking about relationships with people that have abused me over the years. Ex-in-laws. I'll never go back. I would. Oh man. I mean, my ex-in-laws live in the same town I live in. Okay, from my first marriage, and they abused me for years. I was married to her for 16 years. They abused me and her, my ex-wife, first one, and they just got away with it because that was mom and dad. You know, they just got to do whatever they wanted to do. And for 16 years, I put up with that because I had no self-esteem. Okay. So I actually went back there not that a week ago, whatever. I want to see if there's any kind of change in them. I went back and, well, they're all excited because I bought a house and paid cash for it in Klamath Falls, Oregon, the same town they live in. And I go up there and I get the cold shoulder just like always. They didn't see me in 2 years. The same old things going on. All they do is worship their house and their freaking money. They couldn't even stop and listen to what was going on with me. They were all busy fixing their house. And the guy's, he's 91 and she's 88. They're going to live their whole life like that, but that's how they've been living their whole life. Uh, just get all their happiness from money and what they have. And then anybody that doesn't have all that, they don't even acknowledge you. I mean, they didn't even acknowledge, didn't say, total strangers just say to me, wow, congratulations on getting your new house and paying for it cash. It's huge. But nope, not one word like that. I mean, I bought a 100-year-old house, but I've let go in love against everybody that's done all this bad to me, including my ex-wife to be. I don't know. I'm not divorcing her. She can pay for it. I get care less. I'm never getting married again anyway. But I'm going to have a love relationship. I guarantee it. Because the right person is going to come around. Because I have a lot to share and I'm a very nice person. Anyway, but you let go of love and all that stuff. Okay, here we go. Back to the book. But this book saved my life. And you need to get the book. Okay. Remember, the addict's first concern is toward whether he or she is addicted to. You cannot come before the addiction until the addict is willing to give it up. The success of an intervention process, tough love, with a dysfunctional family, I mean, I was in one, always involves the fact that the addict must choose between the addiction and the partner or family members. The addict cannot have both at the same time. No matter how painful the leaving may be, in the long run, there'll be less pain than staying in a hopeless situation. That's exactly what I did. Because it'll never change. Who knows what she's doing now? It's been 8 months almost. But last time I was there, she had her brother there, living there, which he always did. Alcoholic, drug addict, chain smoker, hoarder, the epitome, racist, hated black people, hated anybody of color. I mean, doing drugs, went to a Japanese prison, in the military for dealing drugs and didn't even learn when he went to a prison in Japan. And everybody, oh, poor Denver. Her mother was like, poor Denver, the poor guy went to prison. And then he lied to his mother about why. Who knows why he went there, you know. But anyway, so continue on here. That's what I was in, and I'm not in it anymore. Okay. Because I got self esteem. But I didn't have it when I left. I got it by accident. No, no, but it wasn't an accident. It happened for a reason. Okay. No matter how painful the leaving may be, in the long run, there'll be less pain than staying in a hopeless situation because the pain just keeps going on and on and on. Now the pain is starting to subside because it's almost been 8 months now. I still have moments, but I had to break free of it so I could get away from all that pain. I mean, it was terrible pain. You have the responsibility towards yourself and your vulnerable children to remove yourselves from an abusive environment. Remember, safety ranks as primary need for humans and animals. It is more basic than sleep or food or sex. Do not allow yourself to remain in an unsafe environment if there are any means of escape. You do not deserve to be in danger. What about other relationships and one where there is no danger but they're not functioning well? What about being bored or unhappy with a relationship? How do you know if and when to leave these cases? A good rule here is to make no quick, rash decisions. Take some time and get some help. Think about the things you feel are missing from the relationship and work on the ones that you can take care of by yourself. If you lack self esteem, you may be placing unreasonable demands upon your partner and the relationship. If you have illusions and unrealistic expectations about what the relationship can do for you, you need to focus on these and change them. Do not leave a relationship because you're bored or unhappy without trying to change yourself. No relationship can always make you happy or stimulated. No relationship can do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself first. If you do leave and do not work on your own self esteem, you will just take all the garbage with you and it will cause rot in your succeeding relationships. Remember that self esteem, did you just hear that? If you do leave, this is the one that jumped out at me when I read this book. Do not work on your self esteem. You will just take all the garbage with you and it will cause rot in your succeeding relationships. That's exactly why people jump out of the frying pan into the fire. That's what they call that. Because you never, ever go through the pain of the breakup. Then you jump back into another relationship so you don't have to go through that pain. And then you don't get self-esteem. And the two very simple mirror concepts will give you self-esteem. If you're seeing me and you broke up with somebody, start saying those two concepts in the mirror. But you gotta be alone and you gotta attain self-esteem before you jump back in another one. Otherwise, the same thing will happen. Just that's why I've been married 4 times. That's why I have relationship jump one after another. Okay. Remember that self-esteem is not a relationship issue, but an individual decision. You learn and practice self-esteem for yourself before you practice social interest. Okay, so you have to love yourself before you can ever have a healthy relationship with another person. That's exact. And we're being trained not to have self-love. We're being trained that you have to love somebody. You love before you have self-esteem. You love somebody first, and that's backwards. It won't work ever. That's why our divorce rate is 75% all over the planet. The relationship cannot make you healthy. You can only make yourself healthy. Too many relationships fail unnecessarily because one or both partners are involved in the weak ego and expect their needs to be met from externals. These people will relationship hop until they die or learn they must give themselves what they're looking for. Then there are those who stay in unhealthy relationships far too long. I got ex in laws. He's 91, she's 88, the two are talking about. They have neither one of them have self-esteem, but they've stuck it out for like 50 or 60 years just because they were afraid to leave each other. So it turns out unhealthy kids who turn out unhealthy relationships, who turn into dysfunctional families. Okay. Then these are usually codependents who are caught up in I can change the other cycle. These people do not identify themselves as the problem, but become consumed with the other. They need to be needed, to people please, to caretake. Again, they are looking for something outside of themselves to change. Remember, you cannot control anything outside of yourself, and you cannot change anyone but yourself. If you cannot learn and practice self esteem in the relationship, leave the relationship. If for any reason that is out of your control, you cannot be who you are in the relationship, leave the relationship. Try to leave without blame and recognize your own part in the sick cycle and take care of yourself. Do not make yourself a hostage to a sick relationship. You stay in a relationship that you're physically and emotionally safe and that allows you to change and work on yourself. You stay when you can work on your own needs and wants, and the relationship allows you these freedoms. You stay in relationships that are going through tough times, that are short term, or they're not due to the relationship itself. You stay when you can see the change is possible, not unrealistic. You stay until you know that you've done the best you can do and the relationship remains dysfunctional. In other words, you stay until you can leave with a clear conscience. You can leave and still feel good about yourself. You stay until you can leave with love. And that's another edition of The Portable Therapist. You folks have a great day out there. And remember, never, never give up. Your attitude determines your direction. And I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. And remember, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. Say, I will nurture and I love my inner child and take care of my inner child. Say it daily and keep saying it and don't tell anybody you're doing it. Douglas Bickford will have more later for you. Y'all have a great day out there.